The second mass shooting at an LGBTQ club, what is supposed to be a safe haven, comes during an onslaught of Republican legislation targeting gay and especially trans people throughout the country. The term groomer is an age-old, vulgar stereotype that LGBTQ people and their allies are pedophiles. That has reemerged, and it's merged with the QAnon cult that has taken hold inside the Republican Party's evangelical base to become the scare tactic du jour, helping to drum up support for bills and book bans that attempt to target, to isolate, and to demonize this community. The rhetoric goes even further. If you even mention sexual orientation or sexuality or the existence of gay people, well, according to the Republican right, you too are a groomer.
The Democrat Party is the party of child abuse. It's the party that represents grooming children and sexualizing them in school.
And it is a disturbing trend in our society to try to sexualize these young people.
The official position of Disney is that schools should be able to teach children from K through third grade about sexual orientation. Why not just rename the roller coaster, Sex Mountain? Come on, kids, it'll be a blast.
The most transgressive sex of all is sex between an adult and a child. We have to call this out for what it is.
Remember, how many genders are there? 2 genders. That's right. There are 2 genders. We are proud of it. We'll scream it from the rooftops.
Joining me now is Brandon Wolf, Press Secretary for Equality Florida. He is a survivor of the Pulse nightclub shooting. And Dr. David Johns, Executive Director of the National Black Justice Coalition. I want to start with you, Brandon. I cannot imagine what your thoughts were when you saw the news that this has happened again in another city, just like it happened to you and your friends. I'm just going to let you give us your reaction.
Yeah, thank you, Joy. And I'm angry tonight. I'm angry because this is what we warned would happen. This is what we warned would be the inevitable consequence of unmitigated, unbridled hate in this country. Now, you just saw what's been happening for the last few years. Right-wing grifters, including politicians like Ron DeSantis and Greg Abbott, they've been spewing this vile, hateful rhetoric about LGBTQ people. They've been trafficking in some of the oldest, darkest tropes against our community. They've been accusing us of posing a threat to children simply because we exist on planet Earth. And we warned them that inevitably this would result in violence, but they just couldn't help themselves. They couldn't help themselves from crafting one more fundraising email or hitting send on one more grotesque tweet. They couldn't help themselves as the temperature around the country continued to rise, as young people told us that life was getting less and less safe for them. They couldn't help themselves as armed protesters started showing up at drag shows across the country, or when white supremacists were being arrested outside of pride festivals. They couldn't help themselves when children's hospitals in Boston and other cities were getting bomb threats, having to install airport security terminals to keep people safe. They couldn't help themselves when a donut shop was firebombed for daring to advertise a drag show. And now 5 people went to a space that was supposed to be safe for them, a space like the one I knew well at Pulse nightclub, and they came out in body bags. Dozens of people were injured, scars they're going to carry forever. An entire community was terrorized. They paid the price for this short-sighted, cynical, and sinister hate that these people have been pumping into the ecosystem. I am angry because I am tired of asking, of begging, of screaming and scratching and clawing for people to just see us as human. See us as your family members, your neighbors, your friends. Please, I am begging you to treat us with a basic level of decency and respect. I'm angry because we deserve to live. Those people deserved to live, Joy.
Yeah, and you have a right to be angry. You have every right to be angry, David. I'm going to let you in here to the very point that Brandon made. These are the states that have put into law. And Ron DeSantis is like front of the line, like racing with Greg Abbott and other governors and Youngkin to get to the front of doing book bans, targeting both Black history books, but really digging in on books by gay people and about gay people, limiting student athletes where they can play in at least 21 states, excluding coverage of medical care from Medicaid coverage for trans kids, making it illegal to teach about gender identity in elementary schools. That's Florida. At least 7 states, Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, Kentucky, Tennessee, Texas, have all passed 2 or more of these restrictions. And I'll throw it to you, David Johns, with this note. Greg Abbott rode this kind of rhetoric to get reelected, even winning in the district that had Uvalde. So people are more interested in these like culture wars than they are in safety.
Yeah, putting politics over people. And that is not an unsurprising play when we think about the way in which conservative rights or the Republican Party have been weaponizing weapons of mass distraction and weapons of mass destruction to cause this pernicious form of hate. This doesn't happen in isolation. As Brandon said, I'm also mad as hell, in part because we should not be surprised, right? This is what happens when we don't allow or encourage critical thinking in schools or in our communities. This is what happens when we weaponize hate and call it religious freedom. This is what happens when we allow those political bullies who are in power, like the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, to stand in the pulpit of a Black church and call LGBTQ kids garbage. This is what happens when we have politicians that don't prioritize content moderation and allow the proliferation of hate to take place. Toni Morrison, our sister, my ancestor, talks a lot about words are things. They get into your curtains. They can live within you. And it's important for us to think about the fact that if we can't get over our fear of saying gay, and of speaking truth to full power, we should expect to be here again at some point very soon.
Yeah, and Toni Morrison, whose books are also banned in places like Virginia under these same laws. Anti-gay hate crimes. The Center for the Study of Hate and Extremism at Cal State San Bernardino said in 2021 compared to 2020, anti-gay hate crimes have risen 51% in major cities. There have been recent attacks on a New York City gay bar with bricks thrown through the windows. You've got even attacks on synagogues. It's spreading. Like, all the groups who get targeted are getting, and I just want to just to go on, because I don't think most people have ever seen one. I've been to one with kids there, I want to show you guys what drag queen story hours look like, because there was a drag show that was supposed to be at this club when this attack happened. I just want those who don't know what they look like to see what one looks like. This is cut 2. Please play this.
The hair. So a lot of drag queens have really big hair. So the hair on the drag queen goes up, up, up. So you can put your hands on your head like this and go up, up, up. So the hair on the drag queen goes up, 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 up. The hair on the drag queen goes up, 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 all through the town. Good job.
And, you know, it makes me sad, Brandon, that scares right-wing people so much that they would try to ban it, or your governor sued people over it, and then people act surprised when there's violence against people who are trans and LGBTQ. Your thoughts?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, ask people around this country what they're most concerned about, and they want to be able to put food on the table for Thanksgiving dinner. They want to be able to put gas in their car, and yet we have an entire political party that's being held hostage by those who are made uncomfortable or seem to find their insecurities rooted in a drag queen sharing how tall her wig is. If people wearing a wig reading Red Fish, Blue Fish at your public library is the most concerning thing happening in your community, I would say you've probably got it pretty easy. We have a lot of problems in this country, but that person you just saw on the screen is not one of them. And these people should be absolutely ashamed of themselves that their rhetoric, that their vile language has turned into violence in a community that is now traumatized forever.
All right, and Dr. David Johns is saying amen. I'm out of time, but I'm going to let you say amen real quick. You don't have much time. Say amen if you want to, or one quick final thought.
Amen. That's it. I just want to talk about again. 12-year high increase in hate crime. This is our fault, and it's all preventable.
Amen. Brandon Wolf and Dr. David Johns, thank you both very much.